very happy.
Of course, that's my job. Hello, I'm Jerry Royce. Your real estate agent has given you this short tape to explain some important facts to you. We're going to look at how the real estate agent works for you, their duties and responsibilities. The concepts are valid in residential or commercial real estate. I'll be referring to buyers and sellers, but the information is also true for landlords and tenants. This video is not legal advice, but it does give you a basic understanding of how the real estate agents work. When you begin to work with a real estate agent, the first thing you want to do is to make sure you know whose interest the agent is representing. Whether the buyer or seller pays a commission does not necessarily determine whose best interests are being served by each agent. If you're selling a home or other property, your real estate agent is called the listing or seller's agent. The listing agent represents the seller and tries to sell the property at the highest price. If you're buying a property, the real estate agent you're dealing with may represent the buyer's or seller's best interest, so it's important to know how the difference affects you. Let's look at how your real estate agent will work with you. There are two types of relationships you can have with a real estate agent: a customer-level relationship and a client-level relationship. There are differences between these two types of relationships. In a customer-level relationship, a real estate agent owes you three basic duties: honesty, disclosure of important or material facts about the property condition, and submission of offers in a timely manner. A real estate agent might also give a customer information on properties, coordinate showings, work with lenders, title companies, and other experts. For years, buyers have been receiving customer-level service when purchasing real estate. By contrast, a real estate agent working with you in a client relationship owes you additional duties and responsibilities. In a client-level relationship, the real estate agent owes you the services he would give a customer, plus confidentiality. This means, for instance, secrecy about how high or low you may go in price. The agent is not to reveal any of your personal business that may affect your position in the negotiation. The real estate agent also owes you full disclosure. That means you have the right to know everything your agent knows about the transaction. The agent has a responsibility to discover information about the property condition, the other side's price intentions or negotiation strategy, or anything that can be used by you to receive the most favorable price and terms. As a client, your agent owes you obedience, diligence, and reasonable care. And in a client-level relationship, the agent must safeguard and account for all monies, property, or documents held in trust for their client. Finally, the agent owes the client loyalty. The agent must put your interest above all others, including the agent's own, and must avoid any conflicts of interest that would impact their ability to advise you. There are other differences between a customer and a client-level relationship. The client-level relationship gives you more services, but you also may be liable for the actions of your agent. Many people feel they would prefer to work with an agent as a customer so that they are not liable. You need to check with your agent and find out whether you're being treated as a customer or as a client. A real estate company's policy often defines who they'll represent. An exclusive seller agency means the seller is always the client. Here is a seller and his agent. They have a client-level relationship. When a buyer enters the picture, the seller's agent treats the buyer as a customer, not a client. If you're looking to buy a property, you may see one you like and call the agent listed on the sign. Remember, that agent represents the seller's interest, not yours. As a buyer, you may choose to work with the seller's agent. Remember, that agent is treating the seller as a client and you as a customer. That may put you at a disadvantage. That may be one reason why you would want a buyer's agent representing your interests in the transaction. An exclusive buyer agency always represents the buyer as a client and treats the seller as a customer. As a buyer, there are many reasons why you may want an agent of your own in the transaction. A buyer's agent can give information on value of property, negotiate in the buyer's behalf, and very often can show them a much larger inventory of properties. A buyer's agent has structured their business practice to legally and ethically represent the long-term needs of the buyer. It doesn't have to cost anything more to have a buyer's agent representing your interest in the transaction, because commissions are generally the same whether there is one or two agents in the transaction and whether or not the buyer is being represented. In a single agency company, the agent always gives client-level service to the person they're working for, whether buyer or seller, and treats the other side in the transaction as a customer. Often, the company may represent both the buyer and seller in the transaction. When this occurs, it's called dual agency. If a company is going to represent both the buyer and the seller in the transaction, they must get those buyers and sellers to agree to the relationship in writing. In order for the relationship to be legal, it must be fully understood and agreed by both the buyer and the seller. A dual agent cannot reveal confidential information about the buyer or seller. This includes the buyer's willingness to pay more or the seller's willingness to take less, or any personal information or earlier negotiation strategy that could be used against the buyer's or seller's best interest. When you're working with a company, be sure you understand their agency policies and policies of cooperation with other brokerages, and make sure it agrees with your best interest. Some companies discourage cooperation for competitive or personal reasons. Your agent should be explaining these policies to you. If they don't, be sure to ask. Your real estate agent cares about giving you the highest level of service. That's why they've given you this tape. So congratulations, you're now an informed consumer. If there's any questions that you have on this video, just ask your agent.